Good morning. This is the day that the Lord has made, so we will rejoice and be glad in it. Once again, we find ourselves blessed and surely are honored that we will once again touch with the finger of life. I give thanksgiving, honor, and praise to the G folks. I thank the G family, and I thank the G for my divine and my divineness as I experience the experience called humanity on the planet, as I have now grown to know that anything and everything that's meaningful to me have to come from me, that there's no force outside of me that can do for me what I've been tasked to do for self. I think the energy and the connection, the God force, the G force, God force, connecting and making things come to fruition, for teaching me to broaden my scope on my or others' perspectives, that I might seek to learn true knowledge. We're told all the time that knowledge is power, but then we're also controlled on what knowledge that we would even pursue. The Bible tells us that we should know the truth, and that truth should make us free. But you can speak all the truth you want to. People that's been told, listen to this, people that's been told what their truth have to be, they're not, that other stuff you talking is just not with them. They're not, it's not in a way that they're gonna, just receive. And I recall, and I shared this on the line with some ministers, and even Archbishop of this movement, and I said, about 10 years ago, the Most High told me, Bernard, your hard drive have a virus. So I had to deprogram and reprogram and start putting some truth in there, some things that teach you that everything have to match, everything have to make sense, everything. But when it comes down to your spirituality, one must question why. The most important thing to me, supposedly on the planet, the thing that will either put me in heaven as they're taught, or send me to hell as they're taught, I have to embrace without knowing if it's factual information or not. But because someone said it, I must believe it. What is it and why is it that one can't come to a place where one just want to know or seek more information, or seek knowledge, or seek truth, and be about the true truth, and and living in that you should know the truth, and the truth should make you free. Being free because you're learning the real truth. Learning the real truth don't have nothing to do about relationship with whatever source you claim, God, and none of that. Learning the truth, in fact, learning the truth bring you closer, because you also learn in that truth that God that you are told that's away from you, that God that you told will kill you, that God that you told will, will destroy you, is the same God that said that I'm going to live inside of you. And me living inside of you is what's going to make you holy. So once I start to embrace that, once I know who I am in that God, that God that I have relationship with, that I have no fear of, that God that I mimic in myself when it says that in the image and likeness, meaning that I must be that God. Now, I believe in a higher energy in the universe. I really do. Because I know there have been times where I got close, but I wasn't all the way there, and things happened. So something happened. In the metaphysical, to say you line yourself up, and but whatever that is, then you got to give knowledge. You have to give attention. You have to, acknowledge that something is out there that help us attract to something, and that's when it says you should know the truth and the truth should make you free. So when you start walking in that freedom, when you start walking in that light, when you start walking in the knowledge of knowing, not assuming, as my brother Neil Taylor says, that we're coming out of the age of believing and entering into the age of Aquarius in the age of knowing. I think we're coming out of Capricorn to believing, to Aquarius to knowing. And this, again, you should know the truth, and the truth should make you free. Now, I stand here today in Imani Temple number 28, 2411 Treasure Street, New Orleans, Louisiana, by myself. I've been coming by myself now since the pandemic. For the first couple of months, I didn't come, but, I started losing my axes in myself. So I had to align myself back up with what I know is the truth for me. And because that's the only way I'm going to be free. So this is what I must do for me. Now, some of you might agree with this. Some of you might not. That's your choice. My goal here is to try to be as truthful and as forthcoming as possible. I come here not to lift up myself. I do come here to speak of my experiences with the things that I speak of. Most people that know me knows that I do not speak things that I don't believe. If I used to speak something and I learned better, then I can't do it no more, because I know, now I become a liar if I say it. Now, when I was saying it, and when I first was saying it, I wasn't lying, because I didn't know. I was saying what I thought was true. But it says when you learn better, you do better. So as you begin to wake up and acknowledge and recognize knowledge and what knowledge is all about, then you're accountable for the truth. So my sisters and my brothers, stand on the true truth. And let me say this, in everything out there, there's some good and there's some bad. There's some validatable truth, and there's some things out there that, and sometimes you find yourself repeating it, but you find you can't really validate it, and that's the things that we must be suspect of, because information validates itself. Now, I'm not saying that you validate the Bible with the Bible. Of course, it's going to do that. What book don't validate itself? That's crazy if it don't. That don't even make sense for that not to be what it is. It don't make sense for it to be what it is if that's what you use. So what information can I find outside of it to give it credence? What information can I find outside of it to know that, though I know that it's been twisted, it's been turned, it's been manipulated for man to control man, because he said you should know the truth, and the truth should make you free. So they keep you from the truth, so you can never be free. Because again, if you've been doing this 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years, and you're still trying to get to heaven, you join the wrong team. You're in the wrong game. You join the wrong team, because in all those years, not only should you be in whatever made that distinction, your life now should be about shining the light on others so that they can see what it means to come up in steps. But if you keep saying, oh, I ain't nothing but a sinner, oh, filthy, wretched old sinner, I ain't nothing but filthy rags. Really? Like, really? After 50, 60 years, that's all you can see about yourself? You can't see that you've been through a whole lot and you made it? You can't see that because of some of the choices you made, you went through some bad things, but also because of some of the choices you made, you went through some good things. And that's the thing that gets me. You know, we'll take on the bad, but anytime some good happens, blame it on somebody else. It's never because of you. Anytime you do something good or something good happen, it's never because you did what you needed to do that this good might come upon you. Sister Christie, blessing. So anytime, if that's your reality, then what sense do it make for you to do this? You know, what sense do it make for you to be a part of this if everything you do is wrong? Everything you do wrong is of you, but nothing you do right is of you. Anything right you do is because of something else outside of you. That's crazy. And so it tells us we have our good, we have our bad, but we think God our good way, our way, our bad. So that's why we're in this race. We're in this race because we think that you know, that we gonna maximize ourselves, we gonna be better. Why? Not because of religion, because religion in itself is direct us away. But God, say, but God, what God, the God inside of me, the God that drives this ship, the God that gives me the capability to speak right now. Because if I didn't have the G-force inside of me, or the God force, or whatever you want to call it, then I wouldn't even exist no more. You know, I wouldn't be on the planet. I would be talked about in the past tense, not in the present tense. So we got to think about that. So today, the reading is in, it's funny, it's in Genesis, and of course, I think personally, this is where we start seeing the story hijacked from our ancestors. I know that some not gonna agree. It doesn't matter to me, that's your thing, but it just don't make that much of sense to me. So, you know, but we'll see the story. We'll see the story now. I've been told, you know, you got all kind of philosophies about this. This is the second, it's just all kind of stuff. So you'll never know. You just have to figure out what's good for you. Like you have to come to the understanding of what's good for you. Now in this Genesis in 2:8 and 9, you know, it talks about, you know, in the Lord plan, they say the Lord planted a garden in Eden, and in the east and there he put, you know, man, and supposedly he put all kind of fruit trees, it says, but he put two trees that he put two trees, the tree of life in the midst of the garden, sight of good and evil, and the tree of right and wrong, the tree of knowledge, he says. And so the tree of good and evil and the tree of knowledge. Now, supposedly these trees was forbidden. Now, if it says you should know the truth and the truth should make you free, it says that seek and you shall find, knock and the door shall be open, ask and it shall be given to you. Then how then, in good sense, can we think? If that's the case, how in good sense can I think that God put something in plain sight and I'm not supposed to be exposed to it? That God put something in plain sight, this God that they created, this God that they tell us is all loving God, all knowing God, all seeing God, all caring God. This God that says, but you have to put some skin in the game, that you have to seek me and say, if my people call by my name, shall humble themselves, seek my face, pray, turn from the wicked way, take action. So how all these things you take action on, but then it tells you now you're not supposed to know right from wrong, and you're not supposed to get knowledge. Who benefits from that? So if knowledge was not supposed to be had, then why do we have it? Why is information made available to us? But if it says knowledge is power, if it tells me to seek and I have to learn, you should know the truth. It says, it says in 2 Timothy 2:15, study to show yourself approved before God for a workman need not to be ashamed. You have to learn how to rightly divide the word of truth. So, a lot of evidence tells you about seeking and praying and straining and turning and doing this and doing that. And, but in the beginning here, we are taught that the fault of man was to want to know how to live right and not wrong, and how to be wise in what they do. And so if you don't know how to live right from wrong, if you don't know how to be wise, then how are you going to sustain and improve the earth? How are you going to sustain and improve knowledge of God's self inside of you? How? How are you going to do it if you don't learn what's good, if you don't learn what's right? And so, and they go on in 15, in verse 15, 18, it says, and then God saw that God put all these fruit, all this stuff in there, and God said that now he saw that man wasn't happy, and he made all these animals, and he wasn't happy with that. So then finally he made a woman, supposedly laid him down, took a rib out, and says, fruit, bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh, and stuff. The man was excited. But there's a few problems with that. Right now with this pandemic year, we've been hearing how people talk about scientists and trusting the science. Well, I had read something a couple of months ago that said if God would have taken a rib out of Adam, it would be Adam and Steve, not Adam and Eve. Because DNA itself do not support that information. But again, this is what is known as the second creation story, because the first one is a little different, but they say, the creation story and Genesis 1 is one thing, and then after, then 2 supposed to be to explain how it is done. No, I think that what we have to see is, this is my philosophy. Now, don't think I'm crazy, because I'm not. But my philosophy is this, is that the Most High, the Most High created, it said, created both male and female, he created them, starting in Genesis 1:26. Here it says that he created man, then he came back and created woman. But here's the issue, is that, and I pose this question to people, but they won't answer, and in particular religious people like I used to be. Why a woman came from a man real, but every man from that point forward come from a woman? How many of us can say that we don't come from a woman? How many of us can say that I don't come from a woman? I'm just here. A woman comes from, no. So here in this story is where I think that the infiltrators came in and started changing, taking the things from the way it really was, because you have to know that this story, but anyway, and start changing it to the masculine instead of the feminine, but then at the same time, say, giving you a little tidbit, a little sniblet, by saying that the earth is Mother Earth and nature and the force is Mother Nature. So now a mother played that big important. The earth is considered Mother Nature, Mother Earth. And nature that drives the earth is considered Mother Nature. But then, but why mother if man is dominant? Why mother if the masculine was superior to the feminines? So these things that, again, as you start learning stuff and you start seeing information and you start doubting, and then you see, and a lot of this, the takeover, and that's what we don't like to talk about, but you do see, you see like stories like where God told them to go kill these people. Now these people, where you still got 3/4 land mass that's unoccupied, but God told them to go kill these people and take from them. This God of love and all this stuff. This God that's supposed to created them with the desire for them to never need nothing. Never supposed to work. A woman wasn't supposed to have pain at childbearing, none of that. A man supposedly now had to work because sin was introduced to the world, and this the stuff that they say. But when you look back beyond this and you start seeing that what happened is man self-governed. We used to self-govern before they came. And we used to, like I did not kill, I did not rob, I did not waste the plow land. I did not mess with another man's wife. I did not mess with another woman's husband. I did not steal. I did not, blasphemy. I did just all these, self-check things. And then, so it was principles, not commands. But then when certain people came around, now they came up with commands. I command you. And so anyway, in the story in Genesis, in Genesis 2, it talks about, the trees, all the stuff that was there. So this is why also we have to understand that everything have a purpose. Every tree is a good tree, but it's good when it understands its purpose. And the parable of the fig tree was that, a fig tree can still be beneficial without bearing figs, but its purpose is to produce figs. So you're not to be just beneficial, you're to operate in your purpose. When you just being beneficial, then you live in your lesser self, that's sin. When you live in your purpose, then you're producing that you was created to produce. And for that, you're living your God self. That's when you're allowing your God self to maximize itself on the planet Earth. And if you refuse to do that, then you refuse to walk in your righteousness. You refuse to be who you were created to be. You refuse to be what you are intended to be. And so that when it says you should know the truth should make you free. What truth is that? What truth is that? Now, we talked about that. We talk about, Genesis 2, and then they come with is Luke 2 as well. Luke 2, starting at like 41. And it's the story about, after the child that was supposed to be born Friday, now he's 12, and they brought him to the temple, to the thing, and they, his parents left, and they came back, and he was teaching, and he said, it's about my father's business and all that stuff. And so we look at all that stuff. We look at, what's here, and, it said first he didn't understand it, then his mom got it. So the thing is a 12-year-old in that time, would he have spoken to his mother that way? But nevertheless, so So, we see that the 12th. Then after this, you won't hear nothing till he's 30 years old. So from the birth to he make 30, then you'll have what's called ordinary time. Ordinary time and stuff. You're gonna have your little King's Day and Day of Pentecost, Day of Ascension, stuff like that. And then you're gonna get into the death and the resurrection, and then you start the whole process. That's ordinary time and all that. So what we have to see is the progression, and we have to get how can we progress this where it makes sense, and that God get glory out of it. Because remember, supposedly, all that we do is supposed to be about the glory of God. It's supposed to be to honor God. It's supposed to be to reverence God. It's supposed to be about respecting God. And so once we begin to get that God abides inside of us, that God. So it's saying that you have to respect yourself. You have to honor yourself. You have to, fall in love with yourself. You have to get to know yourself and tell yourself the truth. And once you start doing these things, then you represent the G-folks, and when you represent the G-folks, you're going to go ye therefore and be salt and light. But until you can, like this here, like he said, didn't you know that I will be about the business? So whether you think the person ever existed or not, we know that's a debate, but, they say Jesus, then we say Yeshua, Yeshua is Christ with us, and Haru, and that we know that that's where really the story started at. So if you say, I should say, Christ with us, what is Christ? The anointing be with us. And see, this is what we don't get when we say the anointing is with us. So then if the anointing is with us and the anointing been transferred supposedly to you, that means you are the anointed. Now you are the anointing. That's why I say you are the epistle of God. Your life have to be the story of who God is. The story you have to show society or teach the earth, the universe, that you get who you are in the universe, that you are living your heaven self, not your hell self. And heaven and hell is just based on if you live in your lesser self or you live in your best self. If you live in your lesser self, you living in hell. You catching hell. Everything you try to do don't get accomplished because you're not putting your best self forward. Everything you want to do is obstructed because you're not putting your best self forward. Everything you desire to see, be, or do, it don't happen because you're not putting your best self forward. Now, once you begin to comprehend that, and once you can say that, don't you know that I will be about my Father's business? What I'll be doing the business of the universe. I'll be doing the business of the G-force. I'll be doing the business of the God within me. Didn't you know that's what I will be doing? Didn't you know that I get now who I am and why I am? So I want to live my heaven self, not my hell self. So in living my heaven self, meaning I now comprehend who I am, I comprehend why I am, and I comprehend that anything for me, of me, and about me is going to be done inside of me. And once that happens, no devil in hell can stop me from maximizing the greatest of all potential, God inside of me with the comprehension of what that means to me. And when I get what that means to me, and I begin to walk in that, then I can say, Luke 2:41 through 52. I can say that this is where I was. Like, I was seeking, searching. That's what the Bible say do. They say it in Genesis. They says, don't touch the tree. You don't want to know good from right from wrong, good from evil. You don't want to get knowledgeable. But here he says, look, I'm about, and here's the deal. They say, but where But where did he get his knowledge? He didn't get it from us. We didn't teach him. So when you begin to become knowledgeable, then religion begin to tell you that something is wrong. Religion have you questioning the very essence of your God self and who your God self is. And when you begin to walk in the righteousness of God and the righteousness of self, when you begin to walk in that, them things can't stop you. And this is why you have to know. The God in you have to be connected to the G-force, to the universe, that you know that your time on the planet is not being wasted. Your time on the planet is being accounted for. Your time on the planet is being utilized and making the planet better, not worse. That's when you live your God self. My sisters and my brothers, goddesses and gods, my prayer is that we truly, truly, truly get, that we can say, like was said here, and in Luke 2, 41 through 54, but particular, and around verses, 48 through like 49, 50, those where he says, but didn't you know I would be about the business of? So when are we going to get about the business of? When are you going to allow yourself to become your best self that you can get about the business of? And the business of is not putting money in the collection plate. The business of is not being able to quote a few scriptures, but your life is taught from the floor up. That's not the business of. The business of is your words and your steps matching. The business of is your heart and your actions aligning with what's correct, not right, because right and wrong is in the eyes of the beholder. Some of the coldest people I ever met in my life is religious people, like Christians and all that. They are very judgmental. If they know that you don't do what they do or what their slave master told them to do, they hold that against you. They look at you. If you're not a part of this slave team, what are you doing here? It's clannish and cliquish, very evident, and a lot of proof that it's not godly. Because God says that those who aspire to be the greatest must be the least, that you was going to go to the highways and the byways and get the lost, the hurt, the disenfranchised. These people, you can't go there with your uppity attitude. You can't do that with passing judgment on people, with thinking that you're better and that you have something that nobody else can get. Really? Like, you have something that what you don't have usually is the truth. And so I was looking at some things yesterday that prove that these people with all these jets and all this stuff, and it's just so wasteful that money that these people spending on planes and all that should be feeding the hungry. He says those who aspire to be the greatest must be the least, but because people don't know, because you refuse to know who you are, you think that you have to let them be that give you some kind of validation. A lot of us think just because we go to church in a big building that's something. That's absolutely nothing. It means nothing, because the work that needs to be done is not in the church. The only thing the building is supposed to serve as is a distribution center. So if you don't know that you are the prize, not the builder, not the pastor, not the stuff they speak, your life, this says in Matthew 6 and 13, you're the salt of the earth. And, it says if a salt that loses savor ain't no good. So what kind of salt? You have to make sure you salt that can season and preserve. Then you now you're that light. So now you season, you preserve, now you're the light. Your life is a reflection of what living godly is all about. Not being judgmental, not being holy, not being sanctimonious and all that old crap, but being righteous in God, living a peaceful life, talking to people like this morning. I was talking to my neighbor now. You know, they works against me. They work against me, but now they working against him. He been there long before me. I've been there since 92. He was born around there. He in his 50s. But now, because years ago, he used to push a basket. And I was telling him this morning, Bradley, yo, good morning. I was telling him this morning. He used to push a basket. Well, he's beyond that now. He's working. He got stuff. Now that he getting stuff, now people is coming against him. The very people that he been knowing his whole life. This is what happens to us. Because people don't know who they are. And when you start finding yourself, then people don't want you to find yourself because they don't know themselves. And when they don't know themselves and you begin to know yourself, then they think you better. But your best self have nothing to do with no one else. Your best self have all to do with you. So why would I think that I'm better than anyone else when we have the same daily struggles? We wake up and like maybe I might have 50% more than you or something like that. But I still have to live life. I still have issues. I have problems. I have family. I have all the things that everyone else have. So that tells me in itself that I'm no better than no one else. But here's the deal, is that I'm beginning to learn who I am in God, not in myself. I'm beginning to really know. Like all these years, I didn't know, because again, we always say we're a servant or we're a slave, but no, that's not, it says no, you're not neither. A servant know not his master. You know your master, no longer your slave. You are a child, a son, a daughter, the Most High. So if that's that, then Genesis, Psalms tell me I am a little God, that I'm a little God. So when I start exploring my God self, then that's when I become powerful. I can't be the salt to the earth, Matthew 5:13, the light to the world, Matthew 5:15, 16. I can't be that if I don't know my God self. I can't be that if I'm not living my God self. I can't be that if I'm not walking in the rhythm of the God within. I can't be that. We have to get that. We have to get, as John 1:12 says, now that you know, no longer are you. I am not a slave. I am not a servant. I am a son that live in the image and likeness of the creator of me. And I am that, a part of that creator. So I am the creation that live in the creator that lives inside of me. So when I show up, the Creator showed up. When I speak, the Creator spoken. When I laugh, the Creator laughed. When I cry, the Creator cried. So because that's the Creator in me, that's the only way I could be salt and light. My sisters and my brothers, my queens, my queens, my kings, my goddess, and my gods, be able to say, woman or mother or whatever, didn't you know that I would be about my Father's business? Didn't you know that I would be about my Father's business? The very essence of the God inside of me yearns to become my best self, that can shine like a beacon light to a dark world. My sisters and my brothers, I love you with the love of the Most High Creator, with the G-Fos. My prayer is that you get to know your soul self and your light self, and you fall in love with it, that you can walk in your God self. God bless you. God keep you. This is truly my prayer. Assalamu alaikum, Ashe, peace, namaste, goodbye, hotel. Thank you.